Today's Wednesday, August 15th, 2018. This is the Elevator Radio Show.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds,
when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway?
Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Seibert.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good, I guess those are all the times of the day that I could possibly cover. It is good to have you here listening, watching the Elevator Radio Show podcast, show number 511. Yeah, it's early. It's about 4:50 in the morning, so I am a little bit tired. Been up since 2. If you're joining us for the first time, or if you are a newbie listener, welcome to the show. This is a weekly podcast where I pull information from the internet that we like to call the World Wide Web and throw it up online into a nice compact show notes. It's kind of like Google News alerts, and you wonder if you're listening, a newbie listener, like, hey, I can get that on Google News alerts. Yeah, but you can't get my colorful commentary, can you? No, you cannot. And this show was started during a time when there was no Google News alerts. There was nothing on that level. And so this kind of evolved and transformed into what it is today, and I'm having a good time continuing doing it. So yes, this is show 511, and it is August 15th, which is crazy. It seems as if summer is almost gone, which is sad. And the only reason why I say it's almost gone is because if you've got college kids, they are probably thinking or close to going back to school. High schoolers, if they are involved in a fall sports, have already started their 2-week time, preschool training regimen. So school or summer, has somewhat come to an end for them, not so much for me, but hopefully you've had a chance to enjoy your summer, get out, take some days off. If you haven't, do it now, because it sucks to have to take those end of the year days off if you need to burn them. So think about taking an extended weekend here or there. It'll be the mess, the piles of stuff will be waiting for you when you get back. Anyway, so that's my soapbox talk. I do have, last week during the show, I did mention I'm going to talk about, just try to pull in some more outside information as it relates to some of the emails I do receive. And I'm going to do this in a way that does not get me into any kind of legal trouble. So just keep that in mind. and it's not my intention by any means to single out anybody or make them feel perhaps worse than maybe they should, or et cetera, et cetera. So as we kind of dive into these emails that I find and receive, just keep them all in perspective and just do that for me. I'm not sure the best way of doing this, but we're going to just cruise through and see what happens. So, all right, we're going to get into the news of the week next and should have you out of here probably about 20 minutes or so. So sit back, enjoy.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
All right, in Lima, Ohio, there was a Putnam courthouse elevator replacement was tabled by the Putnam County Commissioners, who were tabled a $130,000 contract with an elevator company out there to replace the aging elevator there. And what's concerning in this article that I was like, what? there's a paragraph that says, according to the tabled resolution, the elevator had been cobbled into operating condition by a revolving staff of county repairmen and elevator technicians. So my only question is does the county employ repairmen to work on their elevators, and are they certified? I just that had me a little bit concerned. Also, it had leaking hydraulic fluids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, they're gonna see what they're gonna do and whatnot. But the reality is that once that thing goes out, it's gonna be out for a while. So in a courthouse, they have to make provisions to for those that require the elevator to access the different floors in a courthouse, so that those that, if an elevator's down, they can get up there somewhere. They can get to courtroom some other way without being required to use that elevator. So anyway, okay, news Channel 5, which is a CBS website. I don't know necessarily why they picked up a story in China other than simply to, let me just pause this real quick, simply to, just gain marketing, advertising traction. So I'm going to let everybody watch this. This is a horrific video. It's an escalator, but it's not a stepped escalator. It's just kind of an inclined escalator. I'm sure that has a more technical name than I'm giving it. But it shows this little girl, basically, as she gets on. I'm not sure if the step behind her wasn't there, or the panel, or if it dropped out, but you see her falling into it, which is awful. So yeah, it's horrific is what it is. I believe she's going to be okay, but just still not a good situation to be in whatsoever, obviously. Okay, Above the Law has a website. Law school students locked in elevator 3 hours during worst callback ever. I don't know why they called it a callback. I don't know, but apparently it was pretty hot in there. Lack of air conditioning, the hot lights, just doesn't sound like a lot of fun. But I guess if law students are going to be stuck anywhere, why not be there, right? I guess. I don't know. I realize that we do require our attorneys in the world. I just don't have a love for them, unfortunately. Well, actually, I do like. There are a few I do like, but all in all, they just not a big fan. So, okay, just as a reminder, don't wear soft-soled shoes on escalators. And that doesn't, that involves the knockoff Croc brands and just sandals that have soft sole shoes. I mean, my kids have sandals that are so soft. They are so comfortable, but you wouldn't want to put them or take them to anywhere, any escalators. So just as a reminder, East Hampton couple warns about Crocs after son gets injured on escalator. I think that's great. I don't believe Crocs is doing all that great in the business space after their run of some significant profits and growth when they first brought their soft-soled shoes to market. But anyway, I'm not singling them out only, but that is the name that is synonymous with those types of shoes. But just as a reminder, you tell your friends, tell not your coworkers, but just share that message if you can, because the more that we do share, the more educated the general riding public will be. Sound Transit light riders frustrated by escalator that failed. This is Seattle Times, and you see a photograph here with lots of people using the up escalator to go up, and the down seems to be broken. So yeah, you wonder, obviously you've got transit stations like this that have been built years ago, but you think that there would be more types of, or maybe more escalators just to handle that kind of volume and traffic, even though it's not constant all day long. So transit systems and sporting arenas are some of the most demanding when it comes to the equipment that we make parts for, that we service, that we install. And that's never going to change no matter what. So the amount of people that equipment uses is pretty significant. Just as a reminder, CBS has a website and an article after her dog was nearly strangled in an elevator. Toronto woman ditches retractable leash. The article link that I have in the show notes don't take your furry friends on a escalator, but elevators are the same way. You know how dogs like to dart out. If you're holding a retractable leash, they could run off for 20 minutes or whatever. And if you're in an elevator, I don't know if certain light rays are unable to see that really thin retractable leash and reverse the doors. But man, the dog is lucky not to have been killed. It was strangled a bit. But just as a reminder, this happens with vacuum cleaners. Happens a lot on, more often than you think, and just people we don't think about that kind of thing. This is a cool article. WestchesterMagazine.com has an article utilizing education to elevate the industry. So this is the first time that I've read an article where elevator contractors have been investing in building and creating training facilities at their businesses to not only train the current workforce that's out there, but the workforce that is going to be moving into the industry. So this is a cool article. Bobby Schaefer, CEO of D&D Elevator, is pretty cool. So they estimate about $100,000, $50,000 in donated equipment from elevator companies. So I think I think we're going to see much more of this kind of training happening on the company level to ensure that those that are employed to work and maintain equipment have the proper training, and I give them credit for taking that on their own to do that. So pretty neat. Next news article, theeagletribune.com. State OK's Bay State Elevator. This is kind of revolving around in a building that's kind of been derelict per the article, being, apparently it had been 4 years since the elevator had been inspected, according to some other issues, violations regarding fire life safety. So my email kind of ties in with this article a little bit, and I'll get into that at the end of the show. Okay, next news article. Let's see here. Okay, forecast cut due to material costs. This is a NASDAQ press release from Reuters. Frankfurt ThyssenKrupp on Thursday cut the 2017-2018 outlook for its cash cow elevator division for the second time in less than 3 months, citing currency headwinds and higher material costs, particularly in China. Anyway, I don't know what that dropped down, but there's lots of money in our industry, that's for sure. So, currency headwinds. I got to try that. I want to use that somewhere today. Yeah, my wallet's a little light due to currency headwinds. Next is a builder find an elevator shaft fatality. I did not read this original accident when it happened. Perhaps maybe because I don't know. It just doesn't seem. Okay, anyway, let me just back up. This article coming from c-ville.com. Title of it is Builder Find an Elevator Shaft Fatality. And this was a home. Maybe it wasn't a home. It looks like maybe a condo or some type of row house. But early July 25th, Albemarle. Oh, jeez, that's awful. I can't even blame that on the recording software. Albemarle. I can't pronounce that. Anyway, the police department responded to an industrial accident at Yancey Lumber in Crozet, where an employee, 46, died of her injuries. Apparently, she was let me just restate this real quick. Yeah, it was a tragedy. Apparently, they were Carlos was ceiling on the top floor, raw sprinkler attachment. Okay, this was not involved. Yeah, this was Carlos. They're talking about another accident occurred when this other person was looking at the ceiling on the top floor of a row house and following the sprinkler lines to attach sprinkler heads when he opened the door to what appeared to be a closet and fell 5 floors down an elevator shaft. Not good. This happened in Virginia. I thought I read somewhere during the inspection of the site after the fatal 45-foot fall, investigators saw doors that had been installed on the elevator shaft, but no hardware and could be opened by wind traveling up the shaft. Oh. There are fines that don't even do stuff like this justice, and they never will. It's really unfortunate. And as much as I hate attorneys, there are states out there that will not that are not as litigious as maybe perhaps they should be. And I don't know. This is just something that should never have happened, obviously. Okay, next news article. I'm not a big proponent of smokers, I should say. And this is not even an article that centers around anything in the United States, but apparently stricter anti-smoking law reeking with smoke. Don't ride the elevator. You know what? Give them a break, for goodness sakes. We've already shunned them and shoved them into little glass boxes and put them 20 feet away from buildings. And reality is that if you smell like cigarette smoke, you're not going to get injured by that. And if you can't deal with riding in an elevator by somebody who smells like that, just deal with it. I don't know. It just seems like somebody make a bigger deal out of this than they have to. So, yeah. Anti-smoking ordinance that would prevent those that just lit up with a cigarette from riding an elevator. Can you imagine a police officer coming over and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I got to give you a ticket, or I got to fine you, I got to throw you in jail"? It just drives me crazy. Okay, the Star in Toronto has more information regarding the men that were trapped in a flooded elevator, and they're describing their stunning detail. They are lucky, so glad they're okay. But yeah, really scary to imagine an elevator dropping into a flooded basement or parking facility area, and then all of a sudden realizing how quickly that water starts to go up, and what could be causing the elevator from preventing it from moving upwards. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's scary. This has happened before. Glad they're okay, and that's just the bottom line on that. So, and then the last news article of the show: people are still trying to build a space elevator. No, they're not. I got to tell you that right now. Somebody sent me an email. They're not trying to build it. As much as they say they are, they're not. There's no way it's ever going to come to fruition. Somebody can call me the most negative person in the world, but I've been covering this story for so long. It's not going to happen. As much as I'd love for it to happen, it's just not going to happen. So I apologize. So good luck. I don't know if they've made any more greater developments on the carbon nanotube technology, because 5-6 years ago they had built like a 6-foot piece of it that took them like 3 years. So I don't know. And when this happens, I will do something and that will say I am sorry, I was wrong. But for now, the Japanese are trying to build one. It's just not happening quick enough, and the technology's not there, and the funding's not there. I mean, SpaceX would rather build some cool rockets, and send those up into space or a hotel, and they'll continue to do that. All right, well, that's going to do for the show and for the content. Before I end for the morning, the day, the evening, whenever you're listening or watching the show, this is the email I'm going to share with you today. It came in on Friday, and it kind of was hand in hand. I get a lot of crazy emails, whether they are for my day job where I make widgets, or whether they are for the radio show. So I'm going to just state with full disclosure that this story is not true. This story is not real. This is just a fictitious name idea, and this is a generalization of some of the types of emails that I receive that kind of drive me crazy, because I've been doing this long enough to know that things could be done to prevent these emails from coming to me. So not a big deal. This one centers around the building elevator owner or the management company. And this is kind of gets me, because being a company that makes widgets or has been making widgets since 1910, I understand the necessity to build equipment that is reliable, that's maintainable, that's replaceable today and as of yesterday for a lot of the older equipment that's out in the field. So anyway, so this email I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to try not to drop any names or whatnot. I'm going to say it's just from Homer Simpson. So Homer Simpson, if you're going to go ahead and I would just call him John Smith. I don't know. Location is in the beautiful state of, let's pick one. Let's pick Florida. And we'll go from that. So this person wrote in, and this is you all deal with this, I know. whether you're a mechanic or whatever. This is the email that I received, okay? I gotta find the first page. Oh, here we go. Dear Blank, I found your website by searching for blank. I have a problem and I hope you can help me. We recently failed our elevator inspection because we did not have blank for our elevators. We only have blank. My family owns and operates a 17-story building in Florida, and it's an office building. There's probably not too many 17-story buildings in Florida. We need to add blank to our 2 elevators to provide the blank circuit. We have DC traction elevators with blank controls, blank motor generators, and then another blah, blah, blah. Here's the elevator inspection report and the memo where the inspector marked what needed to be added. Please let me know how you can help me. So this email kind of continues, and I just said, well, we can't help you with this. Contact your elevator company. And come back and say, hey, do you know anybody that works with this type of elevator controller? I was like, no, I don't know anybody that, Sometimes our biggest issue is having to deal with these kind of emails that just come out of left field. So here's a guy or girl or person, an entity that has 2 old elevators, 2 DC, traction elevators, motor generator sets, which is pretty rare to begin with. And they're trying to get something added to it so that they pass inspection. So I just respond, hey, reach out to your local elevator company. Whoever provides your service can provide you with a solution. And so they came back and said, well, and I said, well, who's your company? And they said, well, my company is X brand company. But this is the response. They irritated me first by delaying from February to late July, telling me this had to be done, and then they gave me a huge price increase. I believe they want me to do a full modification. I do not appreciate when people try to throw me over the barrel. Homer, you're not being thrown under or over a barrel or over a waterfall or anything. The reality is that if you have enough money to buy a building, to maintain a building, I don't mean to generalize, because I know buying a building is not, the grass is not greener on that side at all. But the reality is that if you have money to buy a 17-story building, you certainly have money to listen to your elevator contractor tell you what upgrades need to be done in the next 10, 15, 20 years, so that you're not in a position right now where you're scrambling to try to get your elevators to comply with a code that literally you are not going to be able to comply with because your equipment is so freaking old. Shame on you. Shame on you, building owners who choose not to invest in their elevators, who choose to say, oh, we won't worry about it. We'll worry about it when it happens. It's happening now. Company that you mentioned is a good company. They're a good company. I know the owner, good company. And basically, you're screwed. You'd be better off replacing what you've got with some new equipment. That's my bottom line. But we all run into these people out there that are demanding, I just need it done fast. I need it done now. I don't want to spend an arm and a leg for it. What can you do for me? Nothing. I get so many people calling and asking, hey, how quick can you get this done? What can you do for me? I'll pay anything. As soon as I say I'll pay anything, I throw like $1 billion out there. I said, hey, I can make it happen for $1 billion. You know the response I get? Nothing. I said, for $1 billion, I will deliver. I will have it done for you in a day. I will deliver it to you in a jet plane. I will hand deliver it in a jet plane and take care of that for you. But the reality is that take time to do long-term planning for the equipment in your building. You got to do it. There's no excuse for not doing it. So this email is dedicated to the building elevator owner, the ones out there that do not want to invest in their equipment and their buildings and then basically blame the contractor or whoever for that matter because they did not plan properly. And that is it. That is what I have. Again, this story is fictitious. I have no idea where it came from. May or may not be true. May or may not have been sent to me directly. I don't really know. So that's it. Hopefully I'll have more good stories like that and ones that don't get me in legal trouble. So All right, well, that's going to do it for show number 511. It has been my pleasure to bring this to you as always, and thank you for joining me. If you're tuning into the show over on iTunes or YouTube or whatever else, whatever other website has picked this thing up, as always, thank you for doing that. Be safe out there. Number one priority, make sure you go home each and every day to your family, and that is something you should be thinking about each and every day. So, all right, we'll talk to you next Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week and a great weekend. Stay cool. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.